My name's Seth Johnson, Software Development Manager over at Blackwire. Cody Crosland usually would be here, but he's not here today. And he may be in the future on some of these trainings. So sorry about that. Thank you all for letting me know. This is how we started. I was just going to say we had a lot of frustration between ourselves, and we started selling linear lighting from American Lighting probably about 2018 timeframe, somewhere in there. And the stuff that we were, the guys would call in and they would ask, how do we put the, I sold it out to the builder, to the client or whatever. And we'd say, well, okay, do you need 24 volts? Do you need 12 volt? Like what do you need? And a lot of the questions just couldn't be answered at that point. And even if they did all the answers, turning around some of these projects, or, it's time consuming. It takes a lot of time. You can send it over to the manufacturer. That's fine. You can do that and they can get you a price list. We've seen that work. It does work most of the time. We have seen errors come back on that. We've seen mistakes been made on that as well. We've seen people buy 12 volt light strips and 24 volt power supplies and get out to the job site and hook them up. So like there's all of this frustration that goes into implementing these systems that, we would like to avoid up front. And there's no reason, like when there's one of these repeatable things that we have, there's no reason to not make a computer do the work, right? So that's the genesis of this. And the idea was that we would be able to go from like a back of the napkin sketch, or, if you had drawings, that's great. If you had a floor plan and you kind of where the client said, or the builder said, hey, we want linear lighting in this area. We want to go from that to a quote as quickly as possible for you. So you can get that turned around where that all the math and everything's been done, where that all the products and everything are compatible, and you're not getting out to the job site to do the install without missing some accessories, or you have the wrong power supply, or you have the 24 volt power supply and 12 volt light strips and hook it up and things blow up, or you hand it off to the electrician and they do that. Yeah. So that's the idea. Sketch to quote as quickly as possible. And we think we've gotten there, but we're close. This is where we are today. We obviously are continually developing this every day of the week. We've got an idea of projects set up so you can organize your projects. We've got linear tape light in there where you can specify that. So we handle all your max load calculations. We make sure that if you draw out a light that's too long for that particular model of tape, that it gets corrected. And there's an error that it's bright and shining in your face. We make sure the wire gauge is right from the equipment location to the lights. We track all that for you. And we do a little bit of auto configuration out of the box. So like when you're drawing the light and you connect it to equipment location, and we know like what type of light it's going to be, whether it's a DMX controlled light, standalone, or dimmer switch. And we kind of match the correct power supplies, or do our best to kind of like put things into place for power supplies and that kind of thing. And that's part of the auto configuration. So you could go through this and set up the system, set up a lighting system, if you would, in this product, and have all the parts and pieces that you need. And then you could also go back and value engineer. You can consolidate power supplies, consolidate fixtures onto the single DMX controller. All that kind of stuff can be done too. So, and then we've got sales, install, and DMX reports as well. So we'll go over all that in the webinar too. So, kind of getting back to where we were. Future plans that we have. Of course, we have linear lighting. We've got extrusion report, and we've got complex products. What I'm calling complex products. One of the things I found out pretty quickly was that it would be very hard for us to support a lot of even our partners' products. One of our partners, Pure Edge, I was working on our CEDIA booth, and we had some lighting fixtures that were specified from the contractor that was making the booth, right? And they had some extrusions. I'm like, oh, we can get those. I went over to Blake at Pure Edge. I was like, hey, I need this. He sent me this great looking product and the PDF, and I about fell out of my chair when I realized that, you could order this thing in any which way that you wanted. The SKU that you put together to make a single product SKU could be over 250 different products in our system. So we're working on that now. So between now and sometime summer, we'll have much better extrusion report and support for more complex products, where what you change on the product, like say the lighting temperature or the fixture lens or fixture color, the finish, does change the product number within another product number. That kind of support is what we're working on. So we're working on downlights as well. So it was a big question at Lightapalooza this year was when is that coming? But we'll be working on that too. Obviously, there are LED manufacturers that are working on that, and if it's low voltage, I think we can handle it just fine. We've got RGBIC, our pixel LED support coming. Configurable ports, for like IDs and different things. You'll see what I mean by that later on as we get into like our predefined fixture ID. So we're hoping to make that a little more configurable for your company. And then add more manufacturer partners, data integrations. We have a couple of partners that we've been working with the last, at least in Stadia, on getting some product data kind of organized and put in. Puridge is one of them. I think we were working with Lumini and Elemental as well. So hopefully we'll get more put in. Let's see. And then anything else that comes up along the way that could make your life easier to get this spec'd and put out. I don't know if I was muted before when I said this product isn't, it's not trying to replace AutoCAD. I'm not trying to be DTools. I am just trying to get you from to being able to competently and fully quote a project without worrying about, did I miss a power supply? Did I miss, these kind of things, without having to put extra product on and padding on your number and everything. We do want to the goal is to get you to that point. So let's dive into a couple of things on the product structure and kind of how we organize things. First up, projects are pretty normal. You got like projects 1, 2, and 3. Smith Residence, Lightapalooza, there you go. We have some metadata that you can fill out for the project itself, kind of like what it is, a business, that kind of thing. It really doesn't go anywhere. The main thing on there is the units. You can configure this in any kind of metric or freedom units that you want. And what's nice about anytime you see a place where you can type in a unit, the system will automatically convert to whatever you set here for the project. So if we get further on, if you type in 500 centimeters for a project that's set up for inches, it'll automatically convert that over. For our part, most everything we have on the back end is saved in centimeters and millimeters. So we are converting back and forth, and that's part of it. Project hierarchy. So like if you have a project, you have the idea of quotes. You'll have versions of that quote. So you can have the first version you ran, the client said, oh no, we need to do some value engineering here. This is, I didn't want RGB tunable white strips everywhere. I just wanted tunable white or single color. You could create a copy of it and go in and swap out the product and re-engineer it a little bit. It doesn't take very long to do. And you'll have the second version of that quote. You've got floor plans that you will be part of those versions, and then reports, sales, install, and DMX reports. That'll be part of it as well. I also don't know if you guys heard, you probably didn't because it was one of the first things I said. If you do have a question, please feel free to use the Q&A anytime. I did move that window over because it had disappeared. So I will kind of keep an eye on that. If you do have a question, pop that in there and I'll try and answer it as we go on along. I do like these to be more interactive than they are informative, I guess. I feel like the more interaction we have, the more informative it is for everybody else. So let's just jump into some quick vocabulary here. A fixture, which basically has a couple properties associated with it. It has a common name. So you walk into a room and you say, those are the kitchen light. Those are the kitchen lights. That's a fixture, right? That's the kitchen under cabinet. That's a fixture. Anything that kind of could be controlled with the same switch is kind of how I flip the switch to turn on the kitchen under counter lights. That's what that fixture name is in Blacklight. It has a use type associated with it. So under counter, toe kick, that kind of thing. We've got a tape model. So a fixture has to be the same tape model and extrusion. The accessories and everything that go along with it are the same, and the segments and their sections are also the same. In addition to that, the DMX information for fixture is the same for each segment and section. We'll go into these segment and sections. It's a little confusing to say those right after each other, but we'll go into what those mean later. But that's what makes up the fixture. The controller, we have DMX or Wi-Fi or standalone, whatever you want to call it. DMX would be your standard DMX controls. Wi-Fi standalone would be something like a Shelly RGBW or the Wiz Pro modules we have. And a switch and gemmer, we have those. We just have those. One day we'll put more product in on top of those. Right now they're just generic, just placeholders, I guess. So if you have what we do want to track is obviously if you have a power supply that's not dimmable, we don't want to pair it up with a dimmer as part of the fixture. And then the power supply, right now we support, we only have products in there that support 12 and 24 volt DC. So that's what's in there. I know there are more products out there like 36 volt and 48 volt that exist. So, and 120 as well. We'll start working on that sometime at a later date, but the focus right now has been on low voltage linear tape light. Let's talk about fixture terminology and kind of, keep all this together. And a fixture to us is just a logical group of lights that use the same single point of operation. And then here's a couple of my examples here. And I've already kind of gone over this: toe kick lights, cove lighting, that kind of thing. So fixtures are going to be made up of segments. Okay, so here we have segment 1, and here we have segment 2. That's of the same fixture of the kitchen under counter lighting. We have segment 1 and 2. Now those segments are going to be made up of sections. So if we look at that, we've got section A and B on segment 1, and we've got segment A on segment 2. And that comes in while we're working on the project later on. Not something you have to memorize. You just kind of have to know that there's a difference between sections and segments in our programming. Just because, like, if you were to take a right-hand turn, or there's an accessory that's going to go in between there. There's a piece of wire. There's a jumper or something that's going to go there. That's going to be able to turn that 90 degrees, right? So we've got to track that. And that's why we needed to say, okay, well, these are two different sections of this segment. And then if you see over that particular fixture there, it's got a wire that jumps over to the next segment as well. That is going to have accessories on it as well that we have to track. So there's all of these parts of the pieces, the puzzle. It makes a lot more sense as you're just going through the project. You may never ever see this again, but it's good to know. Fixture IDs, we make up our own fixture IDs. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier. We would like to see maybe more customizable in the future. You can give your own labels or add your own labels in, that kind of thing. But just to kind of explain what this is, you've got fixture, it's just a generated number, fixture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, as you go through it and create fixtures in your project. You've got the use type after that, right? So under counter, in ceiling, wall wash, a couple of different just single use cases in there. You've got the LED type, so single color, tunable white, RGB, RGBW, TW, all that's in there. Mounting right now, you've got bare tape, of course. You've got economy. This is part of the you know, clearly we've worked with American Lighting for a while. We've got the GT, GTX, and Economy in there, and bare tape. So I think if you're selling American Lighting, it's probably what you use, the GT or GTX, and everything else kind of walk away. But I think this is going to be improved with our new update for better extrusions in the future here. So, and then you've got the length based on the project setting. So if this was in centimeters, it would say whatever 89 inches is in centimeters. All right. Are there any questions so far? Because we're about to just kind of jump into more hands-on thing here. All right. Give me a second to hop over. Stop this. Alrighty, let's go to Chrome here. And hopefully you guys can see that. I think you can, yeah, should be able to. Again, if you have any questions along the road here, just toss them in that Q&A and I'll be able to see and answer them. To access Blacklight, you're going to go to the Blackwire Designs website and log in. Head on over on the front page. There's a link to it. We also have it in our dealer resources as well. I'm sorry, software and services. So Blacklight will be here. You click the same thing, goes back to this page here. There's a button here that will jump you over to the site. If you just want to go right to it, it's design.blackwiredesigns.com. So it'll take you to that. However, you have to log in with the Blackwire website. So it's going to kind of do this little dance where it goes back and forth, redirects around, and gets us in. Try it again. Just open Chrome. I haven't opened Chrome on this in a while, so let's see. That is weird. I have it open in Safari, so I can go over there and there it goes. Ah. Well, I don't normally use Chrome. I just figured I would use it because it's cleaner than Safari. So I'll just switch over to Safari because it actually works. I know this works in Chrome because the developer uses Chrome. So I don't know why we're not seeing it here, but we'll figure it out. Let's just go to Safari. And then swap the screens here for you. All right. The right one? I think so. Actually, we'll do this one. Sorry about that. Blacklight. Easy peasy. Alrighty. Okay, so you can see here I've got a project list. I've got all the projects. We've got some demos that we did at Lightapalooza, some older projects that are in here from last year, probably around CDO time. The easiest way to start with all of this is just create a new project. And if I guess by show of hands, if anybody would raise your hands, I guess, let me ask two questions here. One, by show of hands, how many of you would say that you install like this lighting all the time, linear lighting or lighting systems all the time? Got one. There's one so far. The hand thing is somewhere on the bottom of the thing. Okay, I got one or two. Okay, and then I guess converse opposite of that. How many of you don't ever sell linear lightings? And this is kind of like an introduction. So just kind of give me a base idea of kind of where to start this instruction. Okay, so we've got quite a few more of those. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm just going to type in training here. Why not? We'll give it a location. We'll just say hello. It doesn't really matter. This is all just kind of for you to kind of keep up with. Yeah, well, let's say 1234 Main Street, I guess. And then it's a home or an office bar, it doesn't matter. Small bar, there we go. And then you can set your units however you want. You can use fractions, you can use decimals, centimeters, millimeters, doesn't matter. This will convert back and forth. You can also change this in the project at just about any time. So when we create the project, there it goes. It's going to give us an option to import a PDF or an image. We can start with an example. We can start with a blank page. I'm going to go ahead and I guess import an image. So just to show you guys how that works, doing driver work. Desktop floor plan examples. There's a couple in here. These are like famous floor plans I found on Wikipedia, I think. So why don't we use this one? Looks pretty good. And we'll just say this is the first floor. Okay. And if you have a second floor, you can add that in. It would add in, under here as well. This is how you rename, copy, delete. The first thing you want to do with this particular product at this particular step and point in time is you want to find something that you can base the scale on. Then I do remember why I don't use this one very much, but this house is kind of silly. I guess this door is probably a 3-foot door. So let's just say we're going to hit scale and we're going to click here and just say that door is 3 feet. Now, since I do have this kind of in, I think it was in inches over there, when I do kind of tab out of this, you can see that it does convert it to 36 inches for us on the fly. So the conversions are there. And any one of these types of inputs is valid though. Like you could type in anything here, it would be converted to whatever the project is. So if you were using fractions and seeing that, type that in. Okay, so now everything's scaled, and if we were to go in here and draw some under cabinet lights here in the kitchen, we would be able to knock that out pretty quickly. So I guess why don't we go ahead and do that just to kind of show you how that works. Let's draw a light, create a new fixture, say kitchen under cabinet. And then under cabinet will be the type. This could be toe kick, wall wash, all that good stuff. This is just for documentation and tracking. Control type is important. So going between these has implications. Like DMX is going to include, it's going to connect the fixture to a DMX controller that fits. It's going to connect that controller to a power supply that fits the fixture. It's going to assign some DMX channels based on whatever the controller settings are. So there's things that happen through here. If we select that this is going to be controlled by a switch, we can obviously use power supplies that both dimmable and switch power supplies. But if we say if it's a dimmer, then it'll filter out and only select a power supply that's dimmable. So right now we'll just say it's a dimmer. We'll go for that. And then select a product. We'll just do some high output, 35K light, Prolux HD. Extrusion, yeah, we can use like a GTX or something. It's in here. Again, this is going to be improved vastly. Where did it go? Somewhere. There's a GT. Grab that one. And then mount, you can select, the clips, the mounts and everything. It's just a matter of tracking. I'm just randomly clicking one, but it's just going to include that as you make the fixture. So we're going to click here to start and click here to finish. And that will be measured out. You can see as I drag around here, it has a measurement length on it. But I'm going to hit escape to stop drawing. And we see that the fixture here is yellow. Now, if I had gone too far, I'm going to have to go far, far, far in this thing. I'd gone that far, you can see that there's a problem here. It's saying that this fixture, this tape light cannot, by the manufacturer spec, cannot go past this spot here. Not an issue in this particular room, but it may be an issue in other places. I'll bring up a better floor plan that has like cove ceilings and that kind of thing later, but we're just going to go ahead and move it back over. It is kind of giving us a rough measurement here, but know that when we go and give you the tape links, we are going by the cut length. So that's all getting figured out in the background. You don't have to worry about tracking that at this point. You know, it's kind of built into it. So the next thing to do here is to get rid of this yellow that's on here, is to go ahead and connect this fixture to an equipment location. So we're gonna click on one of these endpoints here. I'm gonna do it over here because I think maybe these are cabinets or something we can use. So we're gonna say connect to these equipment. We're gonna give it a new equipment location. We'll just say new location, kitchen, save. And then it selects that. Okay, so the first line that we drew for the fixture, it calculated the length. On this one, I'm asking you to provide your best guesstimate on what that length from the equipment location to the point of the fixture is going to be. Is it 5 feet, 10 feet? I have no idea, because I don't know if you need to go up, over, back down, you know, all of that. So there's going to have to be a little bit of guesstimating put into this, but it's going to help determine what your wire gauge is going to the fixture. Let's just say it's roughly 8 feet away. You know, if it was in the cabinet below that you had here, or in an upper cabinet or something, it could be less, but we'll put it here. All right, and so you can see that the fixture has turned green, and we don't have any issues with it. Now, if we did, you know, run it out further, there's another little black dot here. That's the end of the tape reel. So it's telling you you're gonna have to split it here, connect these twos together, and, you know, as part of the fixture. That's the max run. So at that point, we've got to re-inject some power. We got to have another power supply hook up to it to get more power back into there. But we're going to keep it down here in this 107-ish area. Oh, another thing that we need to have on by default. I keep saying it needs to be on by default. Snap's grid. Helps you draw your line straight. And fit to window just zooms out. Here we get lost. Any questions so far? I don't see anything popping up in there, but what we're going to do now is take a look at the fixture itself and look at some fixture details. So click on the fixture, click fixture details, or you can actually, I think you can just double click the fixture and it pops up. It's going to tell you the document ID that we've come up with based on what I was telling you about before. Control type is dimmer, under cabinet. This is the LED product. If you click it, you can kind of see here, you can get the spec sheet for it. It's got MSRP pricing on here. You can kind of see all the stuff that's involved with it. Tells you how long it is, 32 watts. It's hooked up to this equipment location here in the kitchen, which we'll click that to view the details in a minute, using 96 inches of 16 gauge wire. So that length will be tracked. So on a future report, we'll go take a look at. We'll have a summary of all the wiring and everything you'll need. We don't actually have the wiring on our website or in here, but if you need it, I think most people have their wiring sources that they get wire from these days. But you will need to follow this to make sure that you're not underpowering, you know, and causing strain on the power supply. You're not underpowering the lights. You look at the power supply here. It's selected this 60 watt power, a weird 0-10 volt dimming power supply. So maybe we need to change that one out to a different one. So we can easily do that by clicking change product here and just finding a normal 60 watt power supply. You'll probably find different in here. It's going to filter out the ones that you need. So yeah, we'll use that one. It goes into a dimmer as well. And then for the controller, that's just a generic dimmer. And again, I said in the future, we'll have more here for this, but right now it's just a placeholder. Let's take a look at the equipment location. So I can either escape out of this. I can click this link here that says view details, or I can just double click on the equipment location. you can see that the fixtures that are connected to this equipment location are listed here. You can edit, rename it. Here is the fixture. It's on the current floor plan. If you had more floor plans, equipment locations are kind of ephemeral. They live project wide. So say you had a fixture that was directly above this location and you just drilled the wire straight down through the floor to power it up, you could do that. And we wanted to give you the ability to do that without having to buy extra power supplies and that kind of thing. This dimmer is connected to power supply 1. We go down to power supply section, power supply 1, this is American Lighting power supply. It's connected to this dimmer. Here's dimmer right here. So you can add different power supplies in. Like say we did that. Say let's just add a random power supply in. Gave it a switch to turn on and off with. It's going to say in here like, oh, wait a minute, you've got some disconnected equipment in here. We probably need to remove it. And that can come up into play later on when we start moving stuff around. You'll have some unconnected, what we call unconnected equipment. And this is equipment that you will be paying for if you went to the shopping cart right now. But in this case, you probably don't want to have just a random power supply sitting there, not doing anything for anyone. So we can just remove that out, and it deallocates the switch as well. So we're doing a lot of checks behind the scenes to make sure that you're successful on the project. And let's go ahead and add a new floor plan in. And I'm gonna go. I think I have to start over with a new version of this because it's not going to let me. I'm going to bring in the demo one that we have. It's got a lot of stuff on it. So I'll say new quote, version 2, and I'm going to start with our example floor plan. And if you, this is the one that you can add. This just has more examples here, and I can go through it a little bit faster on, this particular fixture here is an RGBW Cove light. 458 inches. Now, as you can see here, this fixture, this is actually a good example, but I will replicate this in, well, we'll use the dining room. We'll just delete this one out. Delete entire fixture. Bye-bye. All right, so let's do this again here in the dining room. Now that this project's already been scaled and everything, we've got a little marker here where we can scale it. We have a bunch of equipment locations and different equipment hooked up in different ways, but it's a good thing to go through and explore and see kind of how things work. It's a nice playground, I guess. Let's see. I'm going to draw a new fixture, and I don't think, yeah, once we delete it out of there, it's not there anymore. So I'm just going to call it the dining room. Dining room. Fixture type is going to be a Cove light. Control type, we're going to make this DMX. Product will be something fun. Let's do this RGB tunable white. No extrusion. We'll grab some of these mounting clips. Right, so we're going to draw the light. I'm going to start here in the corner because that's closest to our equipment location. I'm just going to drag this around. Now you can already see we're yellow. Oh, we're already red. And then as I get closer on here, just shape this up a little bit. There we go. And that's good. And there we go. Okay. There's no way you can really connect this entire length. We've gone over the max run twice for this, so we've got to split the segment up and repower it. But usually in these situations, you're going to go to the opposite corner and split it. So let's see what that does for us. Still have some max run issues because we've got this whole segment here. I see what it's doing. Interesting. So I'm just going to split it here. That'll be fine, and split here. Oops. That's actually a good thing to bring up. Let's bring that up. Double click on the fixture. It's got a problem. We've told this particular segment out of these 3 segments that we have has an issue. And the segment's not connected to any equipment location. We can also see here on the plan that it's too long, so we'll have to split it up. But if you have warnings and everything, they're going to appear right here in the quick look section that tell you what the issues are that you're having with the equipment. If we go look at this fixture here, this segment here, it's going to tell us that it's not connected to an equipment location. And we can go ahead and do that. We'll say connect to the equipment, the kitchen. We're going to say this is like, I don't know, 6 feet away, connected in. Beep, boop, boop. No, I see it tried to go to the other end with that for some reason. Interesting. I'm going to split this one and just try and resolve some of the issues that we have here. Connect this one to the equipment location. Connect to equipment. This is going to be a fun one because I can tell you. Oh, whoops. Let's say that one's 5 feet as well. Or what did I say, 8 feet, 7, 8 feet, something like that. Add a new controller and power supply. I guess so. What's going on? Let's see. Kitchen, controller. Should have allocated one for us. What's going on? Refresh? Nope, didn't. All right. Well, let's take a look and get this red line resolved. Let's fix it. 14 is what we're working on. We're going to say unconnected. Oh, I see. There's 2 DMX receivers in there. Let's go take a look at the equipment. Yeah, so it did not add a DMX thing in for us. Weird. Okay. Well, let's go add one in. Add a new controller. We're going to say a 5-channel. This one's going to need to be pretty beefy, but we may not want to go over our class 2. So we'll keep it under 96 watts. We'll find a 96 watt power supply in here somewhere. Just say that one. Select. No, let me do it. What's going on? Oh, wait, something happened there. That click. RGBTW? That's 5. It's a 5-channel controller, right? Huh. It's weird. Must be a bug on that product. All right. I'll swap it around for another one. That is strange. It's not letting me. It's not letting me connect it to the controllers we're adding in because it's saying that there's not enough channels that it can connect to. So I'll have to go back and look at what's wrong in the data there. Definitely something odd. We have plenty of other DMX lights in here. So here's an RGBW that's connected to a 4-channel controller and to a applicable power supply. So weird. I'm gonna have to look into that one. But what we can do is just swap it out for a product that will work. Let's go ahead and move this over to. So we'll just do an RGBW. So no, those are working. I'm not sure what's going on with the other one. We'll use this high output light here and just confirm everything else is the same. So that's going to go swap out the product behind the scenes. You can see here we've got a new LED tape light on here. Now let's go check out the equipment location. And all right, now it's giving me the option to connect to, wait a second. Yeah, that's 5 channels. Okay, cool. Must be something wrong on that that tape there. I'm gonna connect all these to the same one. All right. View segment details. We're gonna say it needs to connect to the kitchen. I'm gonna say that one, I don't know, maybe it's 12 feet away. And we're gonna connect to the same thing. You can see stuff is starting to go wrong. Now, obviously the wiring, how these little green wires are run is just kind of, it's generated from the what would be considered the beginning of that. It's not how you would physically wire it though. And we can swap that around here in a minute, but let's connect this to the equipment, kitchen, location. Say this one's a good, 20 feet away. Same one. All right, now let's go see what our problems are, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a big issue with power supply here. Oh yeah. So we've got the 196 watt power supply, and we need 167 watts. Now we can click this and just swap this out, right? And if we need something that's going to be enough power to handle that entire load. So I swapped in, a 200 watt power supply. If you're getting close, it'll start warning you. So let's just drag this out a little bit to see. There you go. You can see it's got a warning here at 91%. So around 10%, we start giving you that little headroom, a little warning about it. Put that back. All right. It's still going to mess you up on class 2 power supplies. We will have another warning in the very near future on that. Basically what you would do here is you'd have to split this particular fixture up into 2 different DMX controllers to keep everything under that 96 watts. But we're just going to kind of, well, we already have another controller here, so why not? Let's do it. This fixture, oops, didn't mean to do that. Back to the equipment, please. We've got controller 12. Let's move it over to controller 13. Controller 13. Controller 13 is not doing well, it seems. So let's go ahead and put that on its own 96 watt power supply to make sure that we're under. There we are. Maybe it's that fixture or that particular power supply. It's not letting me select it. Interesting. All right, so now I don't have anything. Oh, yeah. That's right. So this needs to go to a new controller, 5 channel, and then there we go. Maybe. Oh, we got to get that one on the same controller, right? So that's going to go to controller 13. Yep, everything's green now. All right, so what I did here is I've taken these 2 controllers and divided things up. So in this case here, we're not going to use this 200 watt power supply. We'll maintain our nice class 2 rating on everything. Not 90 watts, but we'll use that one. There we go. I think everything we have is class 2, and even if you got the bigger ones, they have multiple outputs, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're not violating that for code reasons. And we will have a warning for that 24 volt 96 watt in the future. Like this one here would start throwing some errors, maybe this one too. Anything that's going to have a non-class 2 power supply, you may want to be made aware of that so you can make different decisions in the future. I do want to bring up a few things on DMX though. On this DMX fixture here, it's got 5 channels. You can set the universe. You can set the start channel. So this one's taking up, it's starting here at 6, 7, 8, 9, and you can see that these 2 segments are connected to it. So, that's controller 12s are connected. 12 and 13 are connected. So these segments that are connected to these controllers are going to operate as one fixture, of course. So if we go and look at the second, you have these 2 here. You have 13. Go look at this on here. We've got it automatically allocated for the same channels. Again, you can go and move stuff around and change stuff around, but that's that. So problem crisis averted. We've got everything kind of put together here. The next big step is to go to our sales report. Oh, there is a question. Can you explain the 96? Yeah. Class two is a electrical rating that basically says it's in the sorry, I'm jumping around here. It's a electrical rating on the power supply that's in the electrical code. Like and if you go over the class 2, if you go over that 96 watts, you're going to need to pull a permit. It's considered more of like a high voltage thing. So there are jurisdictions and there are inspectors that will dig through your equipment and find the non-class 2 power supply and ding you with it. We've seen that happen. And it's just been a big feature request from dealers out there to maintain that, class 2 rating across the entire wire. So we want to make sure that we do that. We're not adding a giant 200 watt power supply on and getting hit at the end by the inspector because we're violating the electrical code. Let's go ahead. I'm going to sort this by just the MSRP, so it kind of has the big products up at the top. This is our list here of products. So you've got your pricing. Scroll down, you can see all the way at the bottom. You got your total MSRP for the entire project. You're going to need 5 dimmers. You're going to also need the following wiring. So you've got 16 gauge, some 14 gauge, wow, and some 16 gauge here too. So there's some pretty juicy wire that needs to go over and feed some of these things. You can get around that obviously by moving stuff around, but you will have to you just you'll have to adjust the footage or the not footage, the distance that things are connected to the equipment location. So if I go look at this fixture that we just made, right here, it's got 84 inches of wire connected to that segment. I believe you can edit that. Oh, should be able to edit this. So we'll add the edit button back in today. No, wait, no, that's not it. You should be able to edit this without disconnecting it. So I definitely want to change that because yeah, we had that ability before. It's just been, we just redesigned a lot of this fixture here. But yeah, you have to change this value, and without us giving you the ability to do that, you can't. It should look like this when you hover over it, where you have this edit. You should be able to change the length. And actually, this segment's kind of nice. Like, this is some things people ask from time to time. It's like, if I know the exact measurements, can I type them in? Yes, just draw the line first, and then go back here to this section and just type in what you know it to be, and it'll adjust. One other thing we didn't really cover is if you have a vertical change in height. So say that there's a slope here. The starting height could be I guess 8 feet, I guess, and then your ending height could be 12 feet. And then what we're going to do is calculate. You see that it goes up that direction there. We're going to calculate the hypotenuse of that triangle and use that value for your length, not the length that you physically drew on a 2D plan set. So if you do have vaulted ceilings, that kind of thing you need to work around, we've allowed for that as well. I'm going to go ahead and remove, well, let's leave it in, who cares? Let's look at that sales report again. It's probably changed a little bit. Yeah, probably not. We do have the way we figure out, oh, there's a question. How do we get to log in to be able to use this software? You can go, you have to be a one of our dealers. So you have to have a dealer account. And once you apply for that, there's a link on the website. If you go to, well, it's not going to be here for me, but if right here, there's a login link, there's a registration link as well. You'll be able to log in there. And I can't not see. There we go. Back to this, the dealer checkout. If you'd like to support our project that we're doing here, this is key to that right now. You can click that button and it gives you all the products, that were in your project, kind of dumps them into this list here. We're going to work on this a little bit here in the future where it can break it down by the fixture and you can add individual fixtures in. But this is going to give you, now this is MSRP for me because I'm an admin, but you'll have your dealer price put in here. And going back here, we go look at our install reports. This is what I like. When you click install, it's going to go out and it's going to generate some images with everything broken down. The segments, the wiring that connects them all together, the sections. It's going to give a nice little labeled view of this and give you the ability to just basically print this up and hand it off to your installer, to the electrician, and they'll be able to know exactly what gets connected where. We have a segment 1A. You look up here. O1A, it's this one right here. That's connected. Well, it kind of goes a little bit backwards, but that's going to be connected with 60 inches of 16-2 wire, power supply 6. That's going to go to control 04. This segment A is connected right here to segment B. It's got this particular jumper in there, that accessory connector. Control 04, we're wondering what that was. That is this Trulux 4-channel DMX receiver. DMX, it's on universe 1, channels 11 through 14, and 24 volt. It's connected to power supply 6. So you can just go through here. Here's the toe kick in the master bathroom. It's got all the details and relevant information about just installing this stuff built out in here. And the goofy one that we did, it's probably at the bottom. Yep, here it is. Have all of the information about this particular fixture. The 2 controllers that it's hooked up to, 2 power supplies are going to be needed for that as well. Let's see. Another thing, download PDF. If you click include images, it's going to include these images that you see here. If not, it'll just be the tables, and include supporting documents. That's a big one. That's going to download every single and attach and be part of the PDF, every single spec sheet for every product that you have and every product that we have a spec sheet on in here. Maybe some of the clips don't have a spec sheet on them, but most of the lighting and everything else does. So, and then DMX. Okay, so I'm going to move on here to the DMX report. See if I can download that real fast. I probably can just pop it into the browser. All right, so here it is. It's the report. If I scroll way down here, as you can see, all these got attached on the bottom. So all the products and everything that we've specified, the spec sheets are being attached to the install report as well. Back here, I'm going to go to reports and look at our DMX. Here in the DMX, we've got the kitchen cabinets, tunable white, DMX, universe 1, channel 11, 12, channels 1 and 4, and 6 and 9. You can go back through into in the fixture view here and actually change a lot of this stuff up. If we want to look at this particular fixture, we'll go look at its controller. And oh, that's not a DMX one. What's this one? Yep. Yeah, DMX. So you can go in here and you can view this in the equipment location and change where you want the channels to be, the start channel to be for this particular fixture. We do some error correction on this, but and warnings on this, but we do, once we do the allocation on ours, I'll explain here in a second how that works. Kind of leave you to your own devices. So if you feel like you've got an equipment location that has too many DMX controllers in it, and you want to combine them, and you have enough power to do, you totally can go put, say you had a 4-channel DMX controller in there, and you had 4 single channel lights coming back in, you can totally connect all of those. You can just rearrange it. And that way you don't have to pay for 4 separate power supplies and 4 separate DMX controllers for a bunch of single channel lights, if that makes sense. Let me swap over to the presentation again and kind of go over how we are allocating the DMX channels, because that is important. And I've got to show you guys. There we are, hands-on, share. Let's go back to that. Hopefully you can see, yeah, you can see the presentation now. DMX channel allocation. We do this automatically in sets of 5. Okay, so when you add a fixture in that's a DMX, even if it's a single channel, we're going to capture the next 5 channels. And the reason for that is, like, saying just kind of what we just went over, like swapping out a fixture. You've got all your DMX channels all set up and you need to swap it out. Let's not like redo the entire DMX table for this. Let's just be able to change out this fixture and make it an RGB instead of a single color. So we're just keeping those even though we're not using them. And then, you know, obviously an RGB is going to get the next couple of channels on there, even though we're going to use only 3 of them, right? Each one of them gets assigned a controller. And so there's controller 1, controller 2. Now, like I said before, after we do the automatic part, you know, but I only need 1. It's absolutely true on this. You can go through and change those over there in the properties. So everything can be kind of like combined and put together. Get rid of that other controller. Everything's on there, and you can even add another single channel on there as long as you're within your power constraints on both the power supply and everything. Obviously, this one would throw an error, and you'd have to upgrade to the other controller as well. So, any questions so far on any of this? One thing we didn't quite do, and how do I switch back? Let's see. I'll just use. There we go. One thing I didn't cover: if you're a Control 4 dealer, and you can obviously buy all this stuff here, but if you use our great box that we have for our DMX bridge, that's not included in the quotes here yet. We'll be adding those in later, but you can copy this code out of here and put it in our driver, and then what the driver add driver functionality will add in all of these fixtures. It'll pre-program your DMX controllers, DMX channels for that controller. You still have to go in and put the IP address in and everything for the great box when you set that up. So if you're not using that, please check it out. It's a really cool product. Works really well. We've had a lot of good luck with it. I think that, let's see what I've got in the, oh yes. If you are interested in, man, this used to be easier on swapping back and forth sources here. I don't know what happened. Here we are. If you're interested in helping out, we are always looking for help. We have an early access program that we're launching very shortly. Click on some links here. Okay, so there's a link on Blacklight, and there's an early access link I've put in the resources. If you want to help sign up and kind of help, if you've seen something in here that's a feature, we're very open, very, very open to taking feedback, questions, support, stuff that like doesn't make sense. We want to know about it because we want to fix it. We will make it better for everybody here. A lot of people have asked in the past, are you planning on adding any more brands? Yes, we are. We've got 2 more lined up. In fact, one just sent me an email right when we started this, you know, saying, hey, we sent over the data. Have you got it in yet? So I've got to go and look at that, see what that's about. But we're definitely very, very, very interested in hearing your feedback and what you think is, you know, useful or important in here. A lot of this was gone off. A lot of this, especially the install report parts of things, were gone off my experience as an installer. And then I started getting feedback from some people that we were showing it to, you know, like, oh, this is important, this isn't that important, that kind of stuff. We really want that shared experience to help develop this product for everybody to benefit from. So if you want to help out with that, we're starting this up. We'll have it'll be the same login. It'll just be a different, you know, kind of like a early access site you'd go to check out some of the newer things that we have and that we're running with. So if there are any questions in here, please let me know. We also have support channels, chat, phone, email. There's feedback within the app. I don't know if you saw that little idea bulb in the corner. We'd love if you have an idea and you see something that's not working right, like those DMX channels allocations for whatever reason on the tunable white RGB strip. We want to know about it because I want to fix it. I'm not able to go in here every single day and play with every single light strip and every combination. So there's bound to be some bug or something that we haven't run across yet. And you know, if we find them, we fix them as fast as possible. So you don't have any downtime. You can get your quote done quickly with the product that you want. So that said, thank you everybody for attending today. Again, we have our support channels there. Cody's email is on there. My email's on there if you want to reach out. We've got a number of trainings coming up. Ruckus 101 MTX has a pretty huge update if you're using any doing any commercial sound. We've got a pretty big update on that for the Control4 driver and the UI mixer. We also have UniView and PepLink training coming up as well. So keep an eye out for those, as they're all under the dealer resource link page where you would have found the information about this particular webinar. But with that, thank you everybody. Thanks for the patience on me unmuting my microphone and talking for 20 minutes or whatever it was at the beginning. And thanks for attending.